Hi everyone, I'm Rachel. I am a host mom for au pairs, and I make videos that are for host families and au pairs. I hope you find these videos helpful. If you are a new host family and you are considering getting an au pair, I have some referral links listed down below. If you have a friend or family member, please use theirs over mine. But if you are signing up for an agency and do not have one, please consider using them so that the referral doesn't go to waste. Today's video, we are going to talk about interviews and give tips and tricks and advice, do's and don'ts, if you will, for au pairs while au pairs are interviewing. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to start off talking about the appearance that you have when you are in your interview. Now, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is to look professional. And in order to look professional, a good recommendation and a piece of advice I was told once long ago is to dress one level above the role that you want to be in. And so what that means is if you are going to be working as an au pair, perhaps on a typical day, you would wear jeans or athletic wear or something more casual. So for your interview, consider wearing something that's a little bit nicer than that. Perhaps something that you would wear to go to church, or something that you would wear if you were going to go out to dinner with your family. Very appropriate, nothing revealing, maybe a little bit of makeup, nothing over the top, just very, very neutral looking, but wear something a little bit nicer than it looks like you just came from the gym and haven't showered yet. All right, the next tip is to practice. And what do I mean by this? Practice with your interview. The first thing I would suggest is to get a piece of paper and write out all the possible questions that you think a host family might ask you during interviews. And you may be wondering, well, I don't know what a host family is going to ask me. Some great tips are go through your profile and review all the things that you talked about in your profile and be prepared to talk about those in English. Also, you can go online and there are several websites that have lists of sample questions that host family can ask, or it recommends a host family to ask a au pair candidate. And I would strongly suggest that you go through these lists and make answers on a page. What would you answer if somebody asks you about your childcare experience or why you want to be an au pair? And again, do this in English. It is a great exercise to go ahead and just start practicing that in English. Now, be authentic. Be truthful in your answers. Don't answer just something that you think a host family wants to hear, because eventually it will be known that that's not really true or accurate, and it could lead to problems down the road. So be truthful, but be prepared, practice in English, have answers ready to go. All right, along that same lines, in addition to practicing the answers that you want to ask your family, be prepared with questions you want to ask a host family. I would be so impressed if there was an au pair that had a list of very specific questions that they wanted to ask me in an interview. And make sure these questions are very specific about this family. Don't just ask global questions. I mean, it's fine to ask questions about where do you live, what the area is like, what's the house like? But ask very specific questions about your role, what your expectations will be, what the house and family rules are, and more specifically, make sure you really ask about the children you're going to be taking care of. So often we get through just kind of these superficial things, and I don't really feel like a candidate really cares about me as a family or is excited about us as a family or my children. And the way that I know they are is by really tailoring your questions very specifically. Because if you were to ask me, you guys have met Charlie, what is Charlie's daily routine? What foods does she like? What time does she go to bed? Do you give her a bath or will I give her a bath? Does she give a bath to herself? Those types of very specific questions that tell me that you are thinking about my family and what your life is going to be like taking care of my kids. that will set you so far apart with a family compared to other au pairs that don't have questions prepared and aren't asking very focused questions about this job and this family. Another recommendation is, along the practicing lines, is to practice your English before you get on the interview. Take 20, 30, 45 minutes, go through the questions you want to ask, even if there's somebody you can call and talk to in English, just to get that brain turned on to an English mindset. So that way, when you're on with a family, you're ready to go and you're not struggling to find words and to kind of convert things into English. So whatever you can do to get those English thinking thoughts going, do that before you get onto the interview with a family. I think you'll be surprised at how much easier it is to communicate with that family once you're interviewing. All right, so another thing to consider, all of this is done online. Make sure you're in an area that is quiet, that there's not a lot of distractions in the background. Make sure that you have a setup where we can hear you well, that you have good internet. I know that sounds funny, but I've had some families that I've known, and even us personally, we've been on interviews with au pairs and we couldn't tell if it was their internet that was a problem or if their English was an issue and they just couldn't understand us. So be prepared in your space and in your environment and with your technology. If you have to borrow someone's phone or laptop or microphone or earbuds, it's okay. Just try to do the best you can to put together what you can so that the technology is not a limitation when you're interviewing. All right, another thing to do, make sure that you thank the family. Thank the family for their time. Thank them for interviewing you and considering you. Express interest. Often when we're talking with an au pair, we can't really tell how excited they are about our family. They're just trying to be kind of almost too professional, and we just can't read if they're really excited about this or not. And along those lines, make sure that your personality comes out. No, don't be over the top. As you can tell, I'm a little bit more of a bubbly personality, so be yourself, be authentic. Don't be so monotone the whole time that I can't tell if you're going to be excited with my kids and interested in my kids. When you interact with the kids on the interviews, which sometimes is right away and sometimes is in later interviews, make sure that you are, being how you would act around them, because that really helps me to start formulating in my mind, what will this person be like if they're with my children? And so really try to let your personality show through. All right, here are some don'ts. Don't have a translator. I know that sounds insane. I have literally been on an interview where I was interviewing the person. I could see them and talk to them, and I could tell there was someone behind the screen, behind their computer, that was translating, because every now and again they would look up and you could hear kind of someone in the background, and then they would look down and talk. If your English is that rough, either you need to consider matching with a family that also can speak your language, which is okay, or maybe you need to take a little bit of time and wait for this program till you can improve your English a little bit. And that's not me being mean, but again, there's safety issues and compatibility match issues if your English level isn't really where you are representing that your English level is. Along that same line, if you are having a hard time understanding the family, my husband, for example, he speaks so quickly. His words all smush together and run together. And often when our au pairs first arrive, they will tell you that it's difficult for them to understand him. It's okay to say to the family, I understand the words, they're just a little fast. Can you slow down? I personally would not be dismissive of a candidate that took a little bit of time to have us slow down, repeat the question, and kind of had us slow down a little bit. That's okay. And honestly, it's a good sign, because I trust that they're going to be truthful with me and tell me when there's a situation that I need to know about, as opposed to somebody who's trying to lie about something and doesn't understand. I feel much better about the person that's saying, Please slow down. I don't understand you. Let's go a little bit slower. Well, that's what I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found these videos helpful. Please consider giving these videos a thumbs up so YouTube will share them more. If you have questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. I would love to engage with you and to answer any questions. And again, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.